Good morning, viewers, and welcome to BJ's Esoteric Musings. I'm BJ, and I was wanting to talk about something that came out of one of my readings, or I should say writings, over the last couple of days. And now there we go. And I apologize, I was going to print this off. However, our printer is in our office, and my husband is tied up with meetings this morning, and I didn't want to wait. I wanted to get this done. So I'm going to be reading from my screen, and I apologize for that. But hopefully, the topic that I was given is about shadow work. And I realize forgiveness, shadow work, all of that is somewhat synonymous. And the fact that there's so many ways that our shadows get created throughout our life. And I wanted to discuss that a little bit and hopefully put forth some ideas that can then help some of you that maybe so far have not tackled your shadows. This might encourage you to do so, is my hope. So without further ado, let me just go ahead and read this message as it was downloaded to me. Being in this 3D realm, the very nature of it is balance, and in that balance is a this or that, yin, yang, light, dark, or day, night. Nothing new, but still little understood. Action or choice equals consequences. Consequences, good or bad, is yet to be seen. So consequences is the forward motion that will come because we set in motion by our actions and choice. And that result is determined by our forethought as to how that outcome may lean more one way than the other. And it is well to be considered. If so, that can improve our odds for a more favorable result, but still carries no guarantee of success. We make those determinations as we move through our lives in a million different choices, experiences, outcomes. Generally, the happier the outcome and our enjoyment of our life says we've had a lot of positive consequences. But it is the consequences that arrive as hard lessons that frighten us the most. The ones that bite and sting, or worse, poison us energetically. Our hearts broken. We are wounded to our soul in some experiences of the physical, and we believe is the real. All that our eyes can see, our senses, wants, and desires. These are the wounds that become our shadows if we don't properly deal with them in real time, or only partially choosing to box up all the bits and pieces that lay in the wake and pile it into a box, then lock it away inside of us, right? That's how many of us cope. Tuck it deep and put a lockbox around it so it won't escape. We do this repeatedly until that lockbox is full. When we are ready, this is where shadow work begins. We don't really progress until we do open and unpack that lockbox. We must be brave enough to look at the contents, our hurts, our memories, the all of it. We should do so with the mind and eye of the observer, letting those memories and outcomes of the events play as we simply act as the spectator. Once looked at, examined for all it is, considered, and claim the, Once looked at, examined for all of it, all that it is, we consider and claim our part in the events that may have led to them, or harder still, depending on our age at the time of the wound, realizing that we were too young or vulnerable to have done much about it at the time, we see the wound and understand, as best we can, as we now observe things from our adult perspective. The goal is to understand, give no further emotions to it, forgive, and now release it from ourselves so that we can heal. It can be hard for some to realize, especially with childhood traumas, that we've already lived through that experience. We survived and hopefully thrived in spite of it. Our locking up the events only allowed them to still have control over us. Importantly, forgiving self, seeing, especially in a childhood situation, we had no control over those who were the adults in our world. We were a pawn in the play of their creation. Releasing of these wounds allows us to move beyond and reclaim our internal power and our sovereignty. We repeat this process until we have reclaimed all our missing pieces and restore our wholeness. Now we can step out in confidence and begin our next steps. However we choose to see our path to proceed upon. So, with that, let your shadow work begin, if it hasn't already. And that's what I had for this installment. And I hope that that message was able to bring some thoughts, some ponderings, maybe new questions you hadn't considered, or other things. Please let me know. Share in the comments if you think of any questions that I may have missed, something that you'd like me to go back and dig into deeper. I realize that's only a very Reader's Digest synopsis of shadow work. And like I say, shadow work can come throughout our life in many different ways and events. But as my understanding of it, it's those things that we take and don't deal with in the moment, but choose to lock away, that over time erodes and becomes that shadow work. So let's not do that. We're all moving to better states of being and higher consciousness of being. So let's focus there. And with that, I want to, not knock that over, please. Pardon me, I'm working off a very small table. So I wanted to look at some cards for the next, until our next visit together. I chose today the Talisman Oracle that seemed to be appropriate for shadow work. And I want to see if I can find out, let's see. It's Nora Paskaleva. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin her name. Paskaleva. Paskaleva. Nora. I'll call her Nora. And then companion with that, I know I've used these another time, but it's the Yin Yang Oracle. Again, seemed appropriate to pair with this talisman set. And these are Lilith designs. So with that, I'll go ahead and get us some cards pulled. Come on out of there. All right. Okay. I love these talisman cards. They're a nice quality, really thick. They are dark, but hopefully that as in color, hopefully that'll still allow you to see. And I will hold them up after I draw them. They fascinate me, this deck. Okay, so here we go. And what do they most need to, what do all of us most need to know over the next week ahead? Okay, here's that one. was one down here. It was, where are you? Okay, there we go. All right. And then let's just do 3 more complementary clarifiers on it. All right. So I hope you've all had a pretty good week recovering. I know so much is still going on, and I know my energies have kind of been wonky and all over the place myself. So I've just been close to hearth and home, where I like to be anyway. Sometimes it's just the safer choice. All right, let's see here. Focus, focus, focus. Back up for the cards. Back up for the cards. Hello. Let's see. All right, we'll set you aside because you may be a final. All right. And there we've got those. Now let's see what we have. The cards don't lie. They never do. Okay, so first card out of the gate. Rebirth. You can see stripped down to the very bone, the skeleton. And then with the bee above. Ooh, I really like that. I don't know if you see that. The third eye at the very top, the bee above, and almost the triune with the 2 crescents flanking the skull. But that is the rebirth process. And that's what we're doing in shadow work, is we are reliving, rebirthing it into a new workable aspect for us, and then moving it along so it no longer holds purchase within us. The next one is the chameleon. Change. And it looks like a dream catcher of sorts behind it. So the chameleon. Oh, and there's some crystals in there too. Very good, because crystals help us process that energy. Kind of holds us as we do the work. So if you've got a favorite crystal, it's a great thing to employ and bring along with you when you're working on your shadows. And doing so with confidence. Confidence that we know we've lived through it once, we survived it, we can look at it objectively, we can move through it, set it aside, and get back into our life with renewed vigor and far less baggage. Hopefully all the baggage eventually is gone. But at least condensing it from a steamer trunk down to an overnight bag is progress, definitely. So confidence. And then the backup. Oh, yep. Okay. With the rebirth comes the rejection, loss, and fragmented energies, which so often happens to us in the shadows when we've had things that have occurred to us when we were not willing participants, especially. We feel that rejection, even if it's from ourselves, the loss of whatever that dynamic was prior to an event that causes us to either lose faith in the individual or lose the illusion of who we thought they were. And it often leaves us fragmented because we're not, depending on the age we were in the event, we hold it captive in the mind of the child at the age we were at that time. That's why it's so important to revisit it with our adult mind, see it then for what it really was, what the motivation behind it was that we didn't understand as that innocent child that was having whatever foisted upon us. But that can lead to some serious fragmenting, and I hope none of you are dealing with that, because it even can shave things down to the point of multiple personality, that type of thing. And I have seen that. I have experienced that with loved ones in my life, and seen what that does, the devastation. Okay, so the second card was change, and it was flanked with open and receive. Open, receive. Holding our hands up to the Creator, saying, I commend this to you because this is more than I wish to carry any longer. I release it. I let it go. I leave it to you to determine where that energy should be put. So, release and open. When we do that, we have the full circle outcome. Okay, and the confidence, I'm telling you, they never lie. Look at this card. Shadow side, the moon, the dark night. And it's generally that dark night that allows us to eventually find our confidence. If we stare down that dark night, and trust me, I've had to do it more than once, but we stare it down, we review it, we remain impartial, we remain that, as I said in the start of this, we remain the observer only. No, do not let the emotions engage. If they do, release them, even if that means sitting there in a puddle of tears. Don't stop them, just let them flow until they're done. And that is part of the release. But that is also part of that dark night and the shadow work. And lastly, the overriding one is the goal. Clarity, the third eye, clarity. Clarity is the goal with shadow work, that we bring ourselves to that moment of clarity and sovereignty. And with that, folks, I'm going to leave it there. I apologize for not getting back to you sooner. As I said, the energy this week has been pretty interesting, and I suspect you've all had the same situations. So, on that note, I thank you for stopping in. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the YouTube-y things, like, subscribe, and share if you feel there's value to this, so that others can benefit as well, and find their way to my channel. This is how we build this community and how we keep things flowing in a good direction. So, I wish you all a wonderful weekend ahead and the week beyond that. May your shadow work begin. May you do so with confidence, knowing full well you will be rebirthing out the other side into clarity and a new vision for going forward. I thank you so much for your time. And until next time, this is BJ saying thanks for stopping in, and we'll talk again soon. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. These are my musings, so take what you can from them. If you see benefit, leave the rest behind to possibly reconsider later. It's no insult to me one way or the other. I take no offense. So thank you. Bye-bye for now.